But there's already another one.
Good afternoon. This is the time and place for the Legal and Finance Committee meeting, June 26, 2024, and we'll begin with roll call and determination of quorum.
Evans. Maher.
Here.
Seacrest. Here. Stroman.
Here.
Roseland.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Motion by Maher, a second by Roseland to adopt the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now is the time for general public comment. This is a time for the members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. And I don't have any speaker request form, so I'm going to close general public comment. And I will note that Councilman Evans is taking his seat. Next item is consent items 1 through 7. I'm going to open public comment on consent items 1 through 7. Again, I have no speaker request forms, so I'm going to close public comment on consent items 1 through 7. And then I need a motion on the minutes for the June 12th, 2024 meeting.
Move to approve.
Motion by Seacrest and a second by Roseland to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll go to the Finance Department for items 2 through 5. And Director Ainsley, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Item number 2 is just several members or volunteers of our RSVP program that will be listed under our insurance for workers' compensation purchases, workers' compensation purposes. And then item number 3 is a resolution that is declaring a 1995 Ford F-350 truck that is in the fire department to declare that surplus, and they're donating it, I believe. Item number 4 is your May 2024 Treasury and General Fund update. The total cash that the city maintained as of the end of May was $227.9 million. Of that, 72.8% is invested with various different deposits. And then I'm happy to note that we do have a positive balance of $6.2 million in our undesignated cash in the general fund. However, I do want to caution you not to get too excited about that and think of new projects and initiatives. We do have some supplemental appropriations based off some recent actions by the council, as well as that $6.2 million will go down throughout the year. It's flush in May because that's when we get the property tax, and so don't get too excited. And then lastly, item number 5 is your April sales tax report. For the month of April, in the 2% general sales tax, you were up 6.3%, so it was a very, very solid month. Year to date, we are up 3.66%. In the triple B, the month of April was only up 0.6%. Year to date, we are up 2.8%. However, the triple B for the first actual 5 months are actually a very small portion of that total receipts. Really, the majority of our triple B income comes during, of course, the summer tourism months. Are there any questions?
Go to Lindsay Seacrest.
Thank you, Director Ainsley, for the update. I was curious if we could get an update from the fire department on the surplus property confusion, or what's happened there. Could you just provide a little clarity for us on that item? Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
Yeah, so back in February 2010, we declared F-350. We had 2 of them, a 94 and a 95 F-350. And at the time, in 2010, we had declared one surplus, and when we did that, we donated the 95 to them and kept the 94, I believe. And so we surplused the wrong vehicle, basically, when things went through council back then. So basically, we were trying to right that wrong and surplus this vehicle, and then we'll be bringing the title back to the city for the actual 94 that we've had possession the last 4 years. Hopefully that cleared it up.
I think so. Is this, could you clarify, are we talking 2010 or 2020? I think the agenda
I'm
item
sorry.
said 2020.
2020. Yep, February 2020. I misspoke.
Okay, so we surplused the incorrect vehicle, but did that vehicle ever leave our possession, or was it, I'm just curious how that happens. Was it more of a paperwork mishap, or?
Yes, exactly. Paperwork mishap. So the vehicle that was surplused on paper, we still are in possession of. And the vehicle that left, we still have the title for. The
I
city
see.
still has the
Okay.
title. So it's
So-
just a mix up between the 94 and the 95. And when it went through council at the time, whoever put it through surplus the 95 or surplus the 94 and sent the 95 out to Scenic and donated it to their fire department, which they're currently still using. And they hold the title for our 94 and we hold the title for their 95 vehicle. So this is just trying to right that wrong back in 2020 and get everybody the correct titles back and things done correctly.
And just out of curiosity, thanks for that clarification. That I have no concerns there. I understand a mishap in the paperwork. But how do you, at the fire department, maintain your fleet management? Do you have somebody that is assigned to that to manage all of your fleet and to keep track of VIN numbers and titles and tags and registration and all that stuff?
That is me. Yep.
That's you.
I'm assigned to that. Chief Long kind of keeps track of the EMS side, but we have one big spreadsheet that all of our vehicles are on, and it was convoluted a few years ago, and we've streamlined it down to one Excel sheet that we keep track of and keep updated pretty regularly.
You have eyes on the actual vehicle to know we have it in possession and it's.
Yes. Yes. And we did an audit about a year ago, 2 years in the fall. So not too long ago on vehicles. And everything that was on our list when we went through with finance was there. It's just, we probably didn't go look at titles at the time. And then when it
Sure.
came up, we figured this out through wildland contracts. And when Scenic went to put theirs on to the state contract and then our vehicle was on there, they realized there was 2 VINs and 2 different departments that were showing the same vehicle. So then we dug into it a little bit further and figured this mistake out.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. I appreciate the additional information. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. So how many members in the Scenic FD, do you know?
Not
Just out
know.
of curiosity? Okay.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
And they, I assume, have a lot of rangeland responsibilities, or?
I believe so, yep.
Okay.
And they utilize a lot of wildland apparatus. And back in 2020, when we were looking to get rid of that, when we got a newer, updated one, they were looking for a vehicle and just sent it out to them to hopefully give them a little assistance. And
Great. Thank you.
Move to approve 2 through 5.
Got a motion by Seacrest and a second by Roseland to approve items 2 through 5. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll go to the Police Department for item 6. Chief Hedrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is us wanting to leverage the city has obtained to gain some safety equipment. It's essentially a handheld device that'll help us identify hazardous substances very quickly, whether that's in the field or in our evidence laboratory. This device can help scan through packaging material to help us reduce the event of an accidental exposure to our employees. This is a safety issue. In the last few years, we've witnessed an uptick in seeing some fentanyl on the streets, very dangerous substance, and This isn't meant for evidentiary purposes. It's essentially a piece of equipment that can give us a red flag, let us know that the substance we're dealing with could potentially be fentanyl, and then we engage in some additional safety measures to make sure nobody gets hurt. So that's the purpose of it. And we've worked with the city attorney's office and finance to make sure that this equipment fits towards the funding mechanism that it's supposed to, and if allowed, we'll continue to work with them to ensure the purchase is processed properly.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Entertain a motion on number 6. Motion approved by Sechrist and a second by Roseland. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, we'll go back to the fire department. Please.
This is just a request to approve change orders 1 through 3. We are purchasing a new model year, probably next year, 2025, Rosenbauer aerial platform, and we finally were able to sit down with Rosenbauer and do the pre-construction meeting. So this is just the changes that came from the pre-construction meeting on the body, the chassis, and the aerial. And just to give you a general example of one of the things that we put onto this truck, when we first sat down and looked at the 3 different manufacturers that we were going to, we took this off. It's currently on the other 2 trucks that we have. It's a out and down hose bed. So rather than the guys and gals having to crawl on top of the fire apparatus, which is a safety concern, to load the hose back up, this out and down hose bed comes down to ground level, and they're able to easily load the hose where they don't have to be on top of the apparatus. So that was something we put back in this. That was something the other 2 manufacturers that we were looking at were unable to supply for us. So we took it out to make things even across the board as we evaluated which manufacturer we were going to. So that's just one example of some of the change orders that when we sat down at the pre-construction meeting and decided to tweak the truck just a little bit. And it comes out to a total of $54,404, which we were able to cover with our CIP funds.
Any questions or comments? Take a motion on number 7. Move to approve by Maher, second by Sechrist. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. It brings us to the end of the consent calendar. Now we'll go to non-consent calendar. I'm going to open public comment on the non-consent calendar, and I have no speaker request form, so I'm going to close public comment on the non-consent items. And we'll go to number 8, to the Public Works presentation, Construction Administration for the Water Reclamation Facility South Plant Improvement Project. And Dale, okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'm Eddie Lopez, Operations Engineering Manager for Public Works. Our presentation today will focus on construction administration for the Water Reclamation Facility South Plant Improvements Project. This is a follow-up presentation to the previous presentation, and where we discuss why our consulting engineers needed during construction. Today, we're going to take a deeper dive into how the construction administration will look for the Water Reclamation Facility South Plant Improvements Project. I will be opening up the presentation, followed by HDR Senior Vice President Patrick Young, with over 33 years of experience in managing large-scale infrastructure projects. He will cover how the overall work effort for the construction administration contract was determined, and then I will close it out. To start off the presentation, I would like to review the project timeline on kind of where we're at. Starting on the left-hand side, in 2016, the facility master plan was adopted by council. Various projects were identified in that facility plan. In particular, the South Plant Improvements Project was identified as a need at that time. And in 2021, we began design for Phase 1 and Phase 2. In 2022, the city was awarded a grant and loan from the state. And in October of 2022, the Water Reclamation Facility Aeration Basin Clariflocculator Project, what we call Phase 1, was awarded by council. That's expected to be completed by fall of 2024 here shortly. In March of 2024, we went back to Danner and we received an additional SRF loan due to inflationary costs. And we received those funds. And in May of 2024, The WRF South Plant Improvements Project Phase 2 was awarded by council to PKG contractors for the sum of about $170 million. Now, at the beginning of the month, in June of 2024, we did have our pre-construction meeting with PKG contractors where we issued notice to proceed. They're currently working through the permitting process and the submittal process. Shop drawing review process has started. That's where we're at today. And tomorrow, we'll be out at Pier with the state and hopefully receiving an additional $9 million in ARPA fund for the project. Again, our Phase 2 has started construction, and we're looking to complete the project by winter of 2028. I would like to emphasize the need to use consultants for construction administration for Phase 2. This is not unique to Rapid City. Using a consultant to assist in construction administration is industry standard. It allows the city to meet funding requirements established in the grant agreements. This is a large and complex projects, and we require specialized disciplines. We require assistance in interpreting the design intent. We have over 1,000 pages in plans and another 1,000 pages in specifications, and we need assistance in interpreting those drawings and plans. What I would like to highlight as the bottom gutter there is every large-scale wastewater plant job in South Dakota is utilizing or has utilized a consultant to assist with construction administration. Professional supervision is required as part of the Rapid City WRF ARPA funding that we have received to date. One thing I would like to highlight is that we are using a city standards contract. The type of contract that we're using is a professional service contract. This is a standard contract that was developed by the city's attorney's office to protect the city's interests. The current contract has been reviewed by the city's attorney's office as well. Again, this is a time and material contract not to exceed. What does that mean? The consultant will get paid for the hours worked. We will be invoiced monthly. Those invoices are reviewed by the city PM, which is myself, and then the invoices are reviewed again by Black Hills Council of Local Governments as part of the reimbursement process for the funding. Again, just to reiterate, this is a time and materials contract. And the contract is comprised of two main categories, what we call shop drawing reviews and the field on-site services. We will be taking a deeper dive here following in the presentations, just kind of breaking down those subjects. But in essence, shop drawing reviews is construction management and technical services, and then the field and on-site services encompasses change management, payment administration, schedule management, field and inspection services. One thing I'd like to highlight is that construction administration is more than just watching concrete being placed. It is the administration of the construction contract itself. Again, this is a follow-up slide that was presented in our last presentation. However, what I would like to highlight on is that we do have city staff dedicated to supporting our annual CIP infrastructure projects. However, they are fully allocated, and our construction group does an excellent job in managing our bread and butter projects for the city. However, for these type of facility projects, it is best served in relying on the expertise of our consultants, which build these type of facilities on a regular basis.
So I'll take a deeper dive into the actual level of effort on your project for HDR. Start by just describing really the duration of your project, because a lot of the items that we look at are on a duration basis. So your project's going to have a 4.25-year construction period, 51 months or 222 weeks. So in the last meeting, I talked about one of the activities being progress meetings. They're going to happen every other week that we attend, with 222 weeks happening every other week. So we budget into there 111 meetings. 51 months, I talked in the last meeting about reviewing contractors' pay applications and schedules. Happens on a monthly basis. So we budget, or we look at the level of effort based upon performing that for 51 months. And then the project being 4.25 years, having somebody on site to review the work of the contractor, that would basically set the duration of what that is. I'll jump into more detail on that and kind of run through it. And I'll start by hitting that project administration and controls, that blue bar that's really at the bottom. And you can see it's a little more at the first and then kind of continues at the same staffing level throughout the project. And the reason there's more up front, all those contractors' initial schedules, the schedule of values, the schedule for completion of the work get reviewed in that upfront period and worked through, a little higher level of effort, and then continues on. I'll skip past the green bar and resident and go to shop drawings that Eddie talked about. That 1,000 pages of plans and over 1,000 sheets and specifications that we had on a cart last time. The contractor has to provide what we call shop drawings or submittals that says, this is what we propose to provide for that. So it gives more detail. So we specify a pump. The contractor submits, we're providing this pump. It's this make, it's this manufacturer. So the orange bars are the time for us to review all of those shop drawings. And you can see the level of effort the orange bars happen at the beginning of the job. They can't put it in until it's been approved, so they get those basically knocked out quickly. Then I'll kind of jump down to the red bars, which are that operation, maintenance, and startup. So we have to review the operation and maintenance manuals for those same submittals for pieces of equipment, and then prepare the documents that give the guiding, this is how you operate those facilities. And when we determine that level of effort, it's by how many facilities do we need to put into that operation and maintenance manual, and how many facilities do we have to provide training on. So these are ones, instead of being time-based, are really that level of effort based. Kind of continue on that general construction phase in purple, just kind of continues at a fairly even based upon a time basis. Then you get that engineering field support in the blue bar that's near the top, and you can see it starts fairly low, it's checked, it's going to progress meetings, and then when you get about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through the project, that ramps up. So that's time for those engineers who were there during the design, who reviewed the submittals, to go out and do the checks in the field and help provide that startup of the facility. So again, now more based upon the number of facilities that you have within there and the level of effort that it takes to run through those facilities. And then lastly, that green bar is the resident time. And you can see that it starts lower and ramps up and then kind of comes back down at the end. And really just depends on how many facilities are in construction, how many different trades are in construction. Are they pouring concrete? Are they placing pipe? Are they setting equipment? Are they placing concrete? Dictates what that is. And so again, this is based upon the contractor's schedule as that works through. And I'll point out on that green bar, that's really a group activity. And so if you look at that green bar, the on-site inspection kind of starts lower and ramps up. So the city will provide up to 2.5 full-time equivalents people out there, biggest time during that ramp up. We will provide 2. And then there's a separate contract for an electrical controls inspector that will provide 1. So not needed the entire time. They'll ramp up and down depending upon what those needs were on that previous. And if you take our level of effort, about half of our level of effort are those field-related activities, having somebody in the field, being there at progress meetings, being there at shutdown meetings, on site itself. And the other half are those shop drawings, preparation of O&M manuals, items of that nature.
Okay, thank you, Pat. To summarize the project costs, we have come up with the following pie chart. The pie chart on the left-hand side shows the total project cost for $203.2 million, which is inclusive of all project costs. That is construction, design, inspection, and construction administration for all phases. The pie chart on the right, which is the blow-up of the slice of brown pie, that focuses on the HDR's Phase 2 contract, along with the electrical and controls inspection contract by Advanced Electrical that is also being brought to council for approval as well. And I would like to note that the instrumentation and control contracts with AE2S, also on the agenda, is being shown as part of the overall project cost on the left. Again, just to reiterate, the total project cost is $203.2 million. Now that we have discussed the overall project costs and how the CA contract amount was determined, I would like to focus on how the project is funded. We have a total project cost of $203.2 million, and we have a total funding allocated for $208.3 million. Just to focus on the breakdown, the pie on the green pie, which is the grant funding, we received $53.8 million of ARPA funding. A little over a quarter of the project is funded through ARPA grants, and again, that is just free money that we have received, so $53.8 million. We have SRF loan funding for $136.5 million that has been approved by council, and the remainder we have enterprise funds for $18 million. Again, the total project cost is $203.2 million, and we have funding allocated for $208.3 million. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate the importance of ensuring a successful project for the city. The Public Works Committee has recommended all 3 contracts to be taken to council on July 1st. Approval of the contracts at the council meeting will ensure that the city will be able to maintain continuity of service, allowing operations to do their jobs, maintain regulatory compliance, and continue to provide excellent customer service. Construction administration is vital to the project, and it will allow us to stay on track, meet budget, and ensure a good return on investment by providing a quality product. With that being said, we're open for questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Do you have a motion to acknowledge it, or did you want to speak
I was
on
going to
it?
speak. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank Eddie Lopez and the Public Works Department for this information. I know we've spent some time diving into this to better understand the process. Some of this, I believe, is just, this is the largest project that the city's had the opportunity to undertake, and just considerable cost, $203 million. Very fortunate to receive a quarter of that in ARPA funds. I certainly will be supporting us moving forward with our agreement, and just thank you for your time and effort to explain this for us, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I would move to approve.
To acknowledge
Oh, is it, okay, we're just acknowledging the,
presentation.
move to acknowledge.
Motion by Sechrist and second by Maher to acknowledge. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, go to Bill Evans.
Yeah, I thank you, Mr. Chair. I recently spent 5 days in Lincoln and Omaha, and something became really, really, well, it was prevalent the entire trip I was there. You know, we have people come before us all the time talking about how bad our streets are and how badly in need of repair they are. But I got to tell you, at least with respect to our arterials, I didn't travel the back roads much in those cities, but I didn't find a single arterial route in either of those cities in the 5 days I was there that was as in as good a repair as the worst street we drive on in Rapid City. So I just want to compliment our staff a little bit about how they've been managing things over the years, because I know our climate is every bit as harsh as theirs. And I know budgeting things are different, and money allocations and sources are different. But nonetheless, something is going right. When I drove into town, it was like all driving on a cloud. So I just want to congratulate the city people for what they're doing, because people that come before us complaining about our streets really need to get in their car and take a trip. They might be singing a different tune. I just want to say that. Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Sechrist and second by Roseland. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.